Well, good morning, gang. Welcome to October 23rd, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, with Coffee with Tim, a discussion of life and Parkinson's. Today's a good parky day, folks. I am bouncing around like crazy, thus I'm going to stand for a little while. I'll eventually sit down and we'll get settled in here, but the meds haven't quite kicked in yet, and I'm just bouncing around like crazy this morning. So I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a good day otherwise, and I'm excited to talk to you about some wisdom from Facebook. Can we garner any wisdom from our colleagues on Facebook? I think we can. I asked a question this week. Question of the day was, the one thing you would like to go back and tell yourself when you were first diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. The one thing that you'd like to go back and tell yourself when you were first diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I had the opportunity to write the foreword of a new book that's coming out here shortly. It's not quite ready, so I'll save that announcement for another day. But I wrote it on this topic, and I'm going to be releasing that soon, and also a blog on that topic as well. But I wanted to talk to you about that this morning. I wanted to ask you, if you could go back, find your newly diagnosed self with Parkinson's disease, what would be the one thing that you'd want to say to yourself? And I'm quite intrigued by all of the comments that I've gotten this morning, or this week, on this topic. It's quite interesting, and so we'll spend a bit of time going through it and talking about what people have had to say for me. But my technology is not quite doing what I wanted to do here yet this morning. It's always a challenge to get this stuff to do what you want it to do, eh? I love technology when it actually does things properly. All right, there we go. Now we're where we want to be. Perfect. Well, give me a thumbs up this morning. I see a few of you have chimed in. A. Peters is there. Gary Dickema, good morning. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you're hearing, and we'll carry on. Blair, good morning. You going for a bike ride tomorrow, buddy? Yes, there's a few of us that we are continuing to ride through the winter. It has snowed already twice in Winnipeg. Yes, it's only October. I know that. I've got good friends scattered around the United States, Arizona, California, various places, and I've put this on Facebook, and they're like, what the heck? It's already snowing. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome, everyone. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. I want to share with you some of the things that's been shared with me on. There we go. We don't need that. Some of the things that's been said. If folks had the opportunity to go back and share one thing with themselves when they were first diagnosed with PD, what would that be? Well, Carmen Bastos from somewhere, I wanted to say Texas, but her name reminds me of Texas, said, stay cool. Well, that's nice, good, practical advice, right? Stay calm, stay cool. Most of us tend to freak out a little bit when we're first diagnosed. I know I certainly did. Because it was a difficult thing. It was a hard thing to hear at 46 years old, that you're suddenly bombarded with this disease that you know very well what it can likely do to people. My dad, as you probably know, had Parkinson's disease when he passed away. He had suffered from it for many years. And it was I was not excited to hear that I had the same diagnosis. Good morning, Dorothy. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Matt Eagles, my buddy all the way from, I think he lives in London, England. He's certainly in England somewhere. He said, don't sweat the small stuff. Always give yourself some me time and never compare yourself to others. Be kind. All good advice. Very good advice. Don't sweat the small stuff. There's so many small things that are going to come along with this disease that are going to every day, well, like today. Today's a great example. I wake up, I finally slept through the night, thank God, first time this week, and I feel not bad today, except for my trimmer is just off the hook. Well, at least that's the way it feels to me. I'm sitting here looking at myself and thinking, well, you can't see that, but I certainly feel that way today. And so Matt is very right when he says, don't sweat the small stuff. If a tremor was all I had to deal with every day with Parkinson's disease, trust me, folks, it would be no big deal, but there's lots more to deal with. Heather Kennedy's response was, question everything. Really excellent advice. And advice that I go back to when I was a nurse. 21 years as a nurse in hospital. Folks would come out from talking to the doctors. Oh my goodness. Almost every day. Well, we'll not exaggerate, but almost every day. I would have to be sitting down with patients, going back over what some healthcare provider talked to them about because they just didn't get it. They didn't understand. And that was because often we as healthcare providers tend to go way too fast. We've got too many things to do, too many people to see and talk to, and we rush through things. And people are overwhelmed with all of the information that comes at us. We are absolutely overwhelmed with all the things that we're bombarded with in this disease or an illness. And I would tell my patients day after day, okay, here's what he said, or here's what she said, this is what they meant. But next time they come into your room, grab them by the coat collar, grab them by their tie, and do not let them out of the room until they've answered all your questions and until you understand their questions, until it makes sense to you. Their time is no more valuable than yours. Their time is no more precious than yours. How many times have you been called into a doctor's office for a 1 o'clock appointment and not seen them till 3? How many times have you had your time burnt for no good reason that somebody else is behind? Make them answer your questions. Stay at them until they do. You deserve the answers to every question that you have. There is no stupid questions. There is no, hey Claire, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Tell me if I'm right as a fellow nurse. Make your physician, your healthcare provider, explain to you what is going on and question everything. Do not be willing to just take things at face value and go on. My buddy Blair could have lots to say about that, right, Blair? Emma Margaret said, it's okay to be mad and cry. I suppressed my feelings at the time. Yeah, it is good to be mad and cry. Just get it off your chest. Patrick McCabe, my boxing buddy, you're not alone. Absolutely, man. We are in this together. There's a community here, a huge community in Winnipeg, in Manitoba. There's 6,000 of us across Canada and around the world who wants to be involved in your life. Find a good place to get involved, a good community to get involved, and know that there are so many more struggling with the same things that you're struggling with, that you do not have to be alone in this. I really like Phil Badger Smith's comment. He said if he could go back and tell himself anything when he was first diagnosed, he said he'd tell himself the lottery numbers for that week. Beautiful comment. But also take things a step at a time. One step at a time. Go slow with this thing. Kevin Kwok, my buddy, used to be from Colorado. I think he moved to Arizona now. Find a trusted fellow patient coach from the beginning. Heather Kennedy really liked that as well. Find somebody that you can talk to. A friend who's similar to you, has similar belief structures as you, that you can relate to, and who can help coach you through this thing. All right, let's see what else we got here. I like Betty Peters' comment. I'm blessed that PD came late in my life. I wish I could say that, Betty. I hear you. That's a blessing. 46 was just a little too early for me. Wayne Gilbert, always a little blunt. Take this serious. Care for yourself the way you cared for your children and the way you care for your grandson. Don't just tough it out. Amen to that, brother. Don't just tough it out. This is not the kind of thing that you want to sit at home by yourself with. You want to get others involved. You want to have people at your side. Don't hide in your house. Don't feel like that you're the only one going through this thing. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're dealing with, there are hundreds, if not thousands, who've also gone through the exact same thing. Get up there, find them, fight to get involved with others and get people involved in your life. Share with them your struggles. Let them into your world so that you can have, I got distracted by what somebody wrote online. Parky brain, folks, can't multitask, can't read the screen and talk to you at the same time. Oh my gosh. Point is, you don't have to be alone in this. All right, what else can we find practical wisdom from here? Vicki Dillon, again from Europe. Eat well, cut out the crap. Kathy Mayhew says, also when you go to the doctor, if you have somebody with you at your meetings, like a family member or a friend, they can help you remember that what they say all, I don't know what else, something's not computing in my brain there. But the point is, take a friend with you so that they remember everything that the doc had to say as well. There is one individual that said to my question, why? Simply why? Why is not a bad question to ask, folks. Just don't get stuck on it. Lots of bad things happen in the world. If you go back and read my book, Perseverance, which I will throw in as a little reminder that Christmas is coming up, you might want to buy this for some folks that you know. If you haven't bought it for yourself yet, you might want to do that. But I discuss that question, why, in detail, and talk about the fact that lots of bad things happen in the world. The sun shines and the rain falls on all of us. And at some point we have to move beyond that why and accept the fact that bad things happen to most of us, and that we've got to deal with the journey that we've been asked to walk and go forward in that. Geraldine Begay says, please warn me heavily on the use of pramipexole, the devil's medicine. Amen to that. You need to know that most drugs that we take, aside from the levodopa, carbidopa, are Cinnamon. Cinnamon's generally not too bad, but most all the other drugs that we take have serious side effects to them, folks. You want to be very, very careful in taking these things. If something starts going crazy after you've started a new med, you need to be talking to your docs. Ned Newhouse says it's going to be okay. Becca Miller, get help. You got this. And for Pete's sake, exercise. I've noticed a few people say it live here this morning. Exercise. You cannot hear this often enough. It cannot be stressed strongly enough. You've got to exercise. You have got to exercise. I ask people all the time, did you get up and take your medication this morning? Did you take your medication this afternoon? Is there any given day that you would not take your medication? If you wouldn't skip your medication, you shouldn't be skipping exercising. Exercising is the only thing, it is the only thing that has been remotely proven to slow this disease. If you want to counter your symptoms, if you want to feel better, if you want to do everything that you possibly can to live your best with this disease, you have got to be exercising. I'm on my stump and it's making me short of breath. I don't know why, but I like what Carol Company said, take a deep breath. That's what Tim needs this morning, a deep breath. Don't make any major life decisions. Exercise is your best friend. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We are all here for you. John Frank says, relax, relax. Luann Proctor, stay positive. Negativity gets you nowhere. Amen. Claire Lehman, look after yourself. Diet, exercise, and minimizing stress. Focus on what you can do now, not what you might not be able to do someday. How many of you ever get stuck in that, eh? I will share a secret with you. I tend to look back way too often. I'm one of those guys that, even though I preach otherwise, I tend to get stuck on I used to be able to run a 6.5 minute mile, and I could. I even touched a 6-minute mile one point. I used to be able to go out and run 3-5 miles at 7-minute miles. I was a quick little guy. Today, if I go run, I'll do maybe a mile, and I'm lucky if I get it in under a 12-minute mile. I am so pitifully slow compared to what I used to be. And yes, I hear every one of you saying it. Don't look back. And that's exactly what's being said here. Don't look back. Don't look back at what you used to be able to do. The only reason we ever want to look back is so that we can understand the past and allow it to improve our future, not to get stuck on what I used to be able to do. And it's a struggle. It certainly is for me, because when I go around, I cycle, I do the things that I love to do. It's very hard not to stop and say, but I used to be able to. And I have to stay focused on the fact that I still can, that I can still do many, many things that many folks can't do, and enjoy the ride as it is, which is what Michael says, enjoy the ride. Tricia Law, move, move, move. My buddy Larry Gifford, you're going to meet a guy named Tim. He's good people. Thank you, Larry. Thank you to the 10 that agreed with that, liked that statement. He's too kind. Janice Horn, don't waste 3 years being depressed. The next three are the best you will have physically. Enjoy them. Hear, hear, Janice. Live in today. Accept today's reality and make the most of them today, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. I got just tons and tons of responses to this. It's really, really cool. An unfortunate statement. Penny Bald said, save tons of money. Very costly PD is. And I know that some of you live in some parts of the world that makes it very difficult. We here in Canada are generally very well taken care of. We have our struggles, yes. There are things that we'd love to change about our system. But when I look around the world and I compare to what I hear so many say, I can consider myself very, very fortunate to live where I live. Now, interesting comment. Randy says, don't take CL so quickly. And he's referencing carbidopa-levodopa. Don't take carbidopa-levodopa so quickly. And this is an interesting comment because this is a discussion that goes back and forth, right? I, on the opposing side of this conversation, would say, I wish I'd started my carbidopa-levodopa sooner. I understand part of the argument of why people want to not take it too soon. There is the concern of the dyskinesias that set in, and I certainly have far more dyskinesias now than I've ever had, which we're trying to control somewhat this morning. But the opposing side to that argument is, will it give you a better quality of life? In the time that you have, will you live better if you take your medication sooner rather than later? I know there's two of us, that a friend of mine, who we waited about the same amount of time, 3 years, before we started our carbidopa-levodopa. We both have said to one another, we look back and we wish we'd started sooner. I'm quite convinced that I probably would have gotten another year out of work. And at 51, that has been important. Now at 55, I would look back and wish I could have kept working longer. That's a crazy statement for this boy to make. But I also understand the difficulty with the dyskinesias. I haven't suffered with the dyskinesias like so many do when they start their medication early. So it once again comes down to being a personal choice. But to understand what Heather Kennedy said again, question everything. Question my point of view, question Randy's point of view, understand both points of view, understand the positives and the potential negatives from both, and then make a decision that works best for you. Lisa Cox says, keep seeking knowledge and more understanding. Keep pressing for better answers. Find those, even outside the PD community, who speak the same language. Follow the symptom trail. Good. And Paul Jansen, my buddy, quit looking in the rearview mirror and thank God for what I can do today. That's right. Ken McKenzie, relax. You've got this. And Christine J. I won't try to pronounce your name. I never get it right. Now this is fun. She says, start gymnastics now. I'm not starting gymnastics now. And maybe you'll be like an 8-year-old gymnast by the time COVID-19 comes and it won't set you back so much. And yes, move to New Zealand before 2020 so you can train normally. Well, I would love to come visit New Zealand, but I'm not sure I'm going to move to New Zealand. So that is some of the collective wisdom from Facebook from this week in October. Let's see, what else can we talk about here with that you've listed for me? It's not that you can't do it anymore, it's that the results won't be the same. Perfection is not realistic. That is right, Linda Berard. Thank you for that. She says, why wait on CL? Would you let someone who has diabetes? Good point. Good point. She's saying there, if you had diabetes, would you not take your insulin? And that's a reasonable question. It is a reasonable question, but I will stress that, remember, we are all very, very different with this disease. I have met people who struggle so much in finding the medications that will work for them. So we have to be patient with one another and opposing opinions or differing opinions and understand that it works differently for all of us. So I think I have hit on Amber asks a question, how can I help a friend who has been diagnosed at the age of 44? Well, if that friend is in Winnipeg, in Manitoba, you need to put him in touch with U-Turn Parkinson's. They need to get involved with a group of people like them, At 44, they need to understand that there are other 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds with Parkinson's disease, that it is not all 60, 70, and 80-year-olds. When I was diagnosed at 46, I knew no one my age with Parkinson's. So at 44, they need to be introduced to people in their 40s and 50s with Parkinson's. We can do that. If they're not in Manitoba, they need to find an organization that they can get involved in where they live. And if you need information, you can contact me directly. Amber, you have my contact, and I can help you with that. But they need to get involved. If this is a new diagnosis, the first year is going to be tough. They're going to need to know that. And then they're going to need to get exercising. Those three things, first and foremost. Get active, get involved, know that they're not alone. And we can go over more of that if you want to reach out to me. Hey, Tazzy, good morning, buddy. I love you too, pal. Thanks for tuning in. All right, what else can I answer here? See if there's any other good comments that I missed along the way here. I think I've hit most all of them. So I've pretty much used up my 20 minutes with you. I want to make sure we stay to our 30 minutes like I promised. So, is there wisdom to be found on Facebook? Yes, indeed there is. There are communities out there like U-Turn Parkinson's that you can get involved with. Hopefully communities in your city, your province, your country where you live that you can get involved with and make a difference in not only your life as you live with Parkinson's disease, but the lives of others who live with Parkinson's disease. And you can find good communities online on Facebook, and I hope that you'll tune in every week to Coffee with Tim and find some support and some encouragement here. So what else can I leave you with here today? One, if you live in Winnipeg, I want to make you aware of our holiday season fundraiser that's coming up. It's a holiday mystery gift box. Go to the website, look for that. You're not going to want to miss that. If you're looking for speakers, and lots of people are, look no further. I'm available. I'm online. I'm doing a bunch of stuff in November, speaking for corporations, various corps, and various small groups. And if you're in a small group somewhere and you think, oh, we can't afford a speaker, look, folks, I'm not making this onerous. This isn't a big deal. Give me a call. We can work something out. I'd love to encourage your group and get your group together, have some encouragement, have some fellowship, and just know that you can make it through this thing that we're dealing with COVID-19 and Parkinson's with. So yeah, give me a call. Look me up on my website, timsenior.ca, and we can chat. Like I said earlier, and I will leave you with, the book is now available in soft cover as well as hardcover. It's on Amazon. If you need help finding one, give me a shout. Great Christmas present. And a great Christmas present for Tim as well. And last but not least, if you haven't joined the PD Avengers yet, go to pdavengers.com. Remember, we are an alliance of people with Parkinson's, their partners and friends, standing together to demand change in how Parkinson's is both seen and treated. We need your voice. I'm not going to ask for money. We're not a charity. We're not going to bombard you with emails, but we do need to create an alliance of 1 million people by the end of 2022 who will stand together to make our voices heard, demanding change in how Parkinson's is seen and treated. For 203 years now, folks, we've had one medication that isn't available to everyone. We have no hope of a cure for this thing. And compared to HIV, that has about $3 billion a year spent on it in research, they spend about $200 million a year. Yeah, $200 million a year versus $3 billion a year on Parkinson's disease. We need to get a little bit louder. We need to be a little bit more assertive. We need you to join the PD Avengers and stand with us in making our voices heard in ending this disease. So give me a shout. You can find me at uturnparkinsons.org. You can find me at timsenior.ca. You can find me at pdavengers.com. I'm all over the place. Check it out. Give me a shout if you have questions or comments. Thank you for tuning in today. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. Give me a smiley face. Give me a sad face if you haven't liked something. Tell me what it's about. Hey, my cuz, Pam Cachadorian. You got to try spelling that name sometime, folks. Cachadorian. Good to see you, Pam. But nonetheless, have a good week. Have a great weekend. Lord willing, we'll be back here next Friday at 10 o'clock with more things to discuss about life and Parkinson's. Until then, live your best, persevere, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.